look, talk to me about the squad that we've got at the moment. I mean, I still feel there's so many gaps. You know, we talk about a striker. We've spoken about the fact we do need a CDM or a defensive midfielder. There's still talk about Wesley Fofana. It just seems, and now we're talking about Anthony Gordan. It just seems very sporadic in terms of whether it's Thomas Tuchel or Todd Bowley or a combination of the two, but it just seems very sporadic in terms of who we're trying to go for. And for me personally now, I think a CDM should be top. I mean, Wesley Fofana is great, but a CDM is what I think we need.
But rather than just jump into the transfer window and splash out 60 million on these type of players, why don't we just look at what we've currently got? You mentioned Ampadu, brilliant player, very versatile, can play in a back three, can play as one of the two centre-backs, can play as a CDM. Billy Gilmore's another player who's still in our squad. He hasn't been sent out on loan yet. He wasn't at the open training session at Stamford Bridge yesterday either, which indicates that he probably doesn't have a future this season at Chelsea. And then I think our main priority should be solving our goal problem. We're playing Havertz, Mount and Sterling. They haven't scored a single goal between the three of them so far this season. They didn't look like they were going to score at any stage. I mean, sure, Sterling scored a brilliant goal, which is offside. But I think I'm all for getting Aubameyang now. I'm all for getting Aubameyang. Sure, he's 33. Sure, he comes with that whole package of him coming to the training sessions in his gold Lamborghini or whatever it is and his big ego. But I feel like he's got a relationship with Tuchel from his Dortmund days. He does have goals in him. He's done it in the Premier League before he signed the contract and the next 6 months all went downhill for him at Arsenal. But before that period, that's the Aubameyang I want to look at. He was a prolific goal scorer. Even last season, in his 6 months at Barcelona, he was scoring in the Europa League. And I think he scored even in the Clasico, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He's a good player. And then this other player we're linked with, Anthony Gordan, 60 million after one decent season. It's crazy money. It's crazy money. And then there's talks of sending Hudson-Odoi out on loan to Bayer Leverkusen. I love the English players going on loan to the Bundesliga. You look at how the Bundesliga have nurtured English talents like Bellingham, Sancho. Fantastic league to learn and to develop as a player. But his stats under Tuchel aren't shabby. Every time he started, we've never lost a game. I think it's 24 wins, 6 draws. And he hasn't really been given a chance. I don't think he's even played a single game for us since the injury against Luton in March. So I think that's a player we should definitely look at before even thinking of splashing 60 million on Anthony Gordan. CDM positions, same story as last season. As soon as Kante or Kovacic gets injured, we look really weak and fragile in that department. Utilise Ampadu, utilise Gilmore. I want to see these players get a run of games. But I still feel like the focus before the end of the window, possibly a centre-back and a goal scorer in attack.
Yeah, and the only thing that worries me about the Patrick Aubameyang, I'm hearing 35 million. It's not my money, so I don't really care. It's not. I'm not spending 35 million, but I just think I'm looking at Newcastle who are going for Isak, I think from Real Sociedad, and it's 58 million. I get it, but just in terms of his goal record for club and country, it just throws my head off that we're not looking at that sort of player. No disrespect to Anthony Gordan, I'm sure he's going to be a brilliant player. He's got the qualities to do that, but 60 million pounds for a player that isn't really proven at Everton, a team where he looks okay because of who he's around. You look at, again, no disrespect to them, but Iwobi or Tom Davies, all these players that Dele Alli. He looks good amongst those players, but we've got Callum Hudson-Odoi, who, for me personally, and I can only imagine this is maybe Callum Hudson-Odoi wanting to leave as opposed to Thomas Tuchel wanting Callum Hudson-Odoi to leave. He was flirting around with, I think it was Bayern Munich, I think, 2 or 3 seasons ago. So you get that he wants his, frustration of not getting regular football. I get that, but these are times when surely if you're doing it on a training pitch and the manager's there day in day out with you, this is the time to break into the squad because it's a free for all. There's no real clear lineup for Chelsea at the moment. You could arguably say maybe your centre backs, if you're going to play 3 at the back, you can kind of tell who they're going to be. Maybe even say left wing back, you don't know. Is it going to be Ben Chilwell or is it going to be Cucurella? You don't know. It worries me that with 3 seasons in with someone like Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, who, yes, back-to-back player of the seasons is brilliant, but there's no real improvement in the player. And again, I don't want to just try and criticize and single out just those two. You could say that about probably amongst most of the squad, but you see someone like Kai Havertz and you think, okay, you've been here for 3 seasons. We gave you the benefit of the doubt coming into a new league. You know, COVID happened as well. I think he had COVID, all of these things, but there's no real progression in some of these players, and you just wonder, when is that going to come? When will we see, you know, the Kai Havertz that we paid, you know, close to £70 million for, or Mason Mount, when he takes that next level up and almost carries the midfield on his back a little bit? And, you know, when is Jorginho actually going to, you know, be the Jorginho that we need him to be consistently? You know, Kante, is he going to be able to do a full season without picking up injuries? Kovacic as well. You know, there's so many massive question marks over the club. And, you know, I think you look at the other teams, you look at Spurs, you look at Arsenal, you look at even, say, Liverpool, massive question mark over them at the moment in terms of squad depth. But Man City, even potentially Manchester United, you know, they're looking good. I wanted to talk about, we sort of touched on Anthony Gordan, but I want to talk about Wesley Fofana, because I feel like that is a key signing for us now. You know, we've seen Koulibaly good and bad, so it does kind of see that we need another centre-back at the team. What's your thoughts on that? How do you think that's going to pan out? Because I think it looks like it's going to be done. I just think Leicester are holding out for this 85-90 million price tag.
It's going to cost us a lot of money if we are going to bring him in, but I think maybe what could possibly drive the price down is he clearly doesn't want to be at Leicester anymore. You saw his body language against, I think, post-Arsenal. He wasn't in the squad against, trying to think of who they played. Was it Southampton? I can't remember who they played.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and he was in the stands and didn't even applaud or clap their goal. So his body language has been quite poor. There's even rumours that Brendan Rodgers might be the next manager to be sacked, and maybe that might lead to him having an easy way out, or maybe the new manager may force him to stay. It could work either ways. But Leicester know that we're desperate as well, probably. They know that we've put in 3 bids and all 3 bids have been rejected so far. And I think they'll probably wait for us to bid that the 85 million that they're looking for. I know in Chelsea we probably will. We don't have Marina anymore, that maybe bargain or negotiate a better price. Hudson-Odoi was a possible player we could have sent out on loan, maybe as a bargaining chip, but it looks like he's off to the Bundesliga now. So I think it's going to have to be, that 85 million that Leicester are demanding, which is a lot of money. But you see it with football now. If a player performs, then often price tags are quickly forgotten about.
Yeah, I think in terms of, I agree. I think in terms of Fofana, I think he's 21, so you'd expect at least for us to get the best years out of him. I know we didn't report to training, which is why I think he's training with the under 23s at the moment. And again, links back to what you said around, you know, not celebrating the goals. It's obviously a massive disconnect between, you know, club, manager, player. And, you know, you can see that now. And I think, I like him as a defender. I think he broke his leg, didn't he? Was it last season or
I think he missed the whole season of an injury.
He missed the whole season, didn't he?
Maybe the season before last, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he's come back. He's still got a lot to prove. Like I said, he's really young, and I mean, price tags, like you say, a price tag. You know, we don't. It's not our money. We don't. As long as he performs, and I think that's the difference for me. You know, Wesley Fofana wants to come to the club, whereas I feel like Anthony Gordan, you know, he's come out. He said he wants to play Champions League football and attempts to get into the World Cup squad. So for me, does he actually want to play for the badge, or does he just want to have his own self gain of getting into the World Cup squad and saying he can play in Champions League?